Alright, now we're in gear. Whew. Whew. Man, I tell you, after so much coffee in preparation for this event, I cannot hold much. So what did he talk about, huh? I know what he talked about. He talked about Seraph is maybe doing some suspicious things with that signal. Saying that it was us, Seraph Industries, who made that security breach in the first place. Now I'm confused. The plot thickens. Why would my industry of biotech want to release all those documents? Why would they purposefully make a breach?
Excuse me.
Mr. Jensen, isn't it?
Sir, you have that charity dinner?
In a moment, Isaiah. I was hoping I might run into you, Mr. Jensen. Bill Taggart.
The founder of the Humanity Front. I know who you are.
Yes. Yes, I imagine you do. As David Sarah's top security man, I imagine you have quite the file on me. But I assure you, Mr. Jensen, I am devastated by recent events.
Really?
I do not support what you and your company are doing to mankind. I believe it's extremely dangerous. But abolishing human enhancement technologies will only be achieved through legal means.
I'll keep that in mind.
This is your first day back since the accident 6 months ago, isn't it?
Sir, we have to go.
What happened to me was no accident.
Ah, my mistake. But it must have been stressful facing down a second incident so soon. I imagine it brought back all kinds of unpleasant memories.
I appreciate your concern, Mr. Taggart, but it was nothing I couldn't handle.
I'm a psychologist, Mr. Jensen. I know when a man is hiding behind words. The flesh may heal, but the mind is not always so resilient. You might want to keep that in mind. Now, if you'll be so kind as to excuse me.
I'm curious about something, Mr. Taggart. What is it you hope to accomplish by coming here tonight?
I would think that would be obvious. Your company has been viciously targeted. The violence and bloodshed that's occurred, it must be stopped. But I'm afraid it won't be until men of wisdom and understanding come to an agreement.
About what?
About the future, Mr. Jensen. This enhancement technology threatens to change the course of human evolution, to redefine what it even means to be human. You think governments can afford to let that go unregulated?
You can't stop progress, Mr. Taggart.
Perhaps not. But neither can we afford to sit by and watch it happen on its own. Not when we have the ability, the collective will, and foresight to influence it.
I see. Thank you for illuminating me.
Anytime.
Sad boob. Alright, so that guy, we will run into another time, I'm sure. William Taggart doesn't support what we're doing here. And I'm sure there are many people who would say that the selective genetics tests that can be done to choose sex of an embryo, to choose hair color, eye color, these things can be done today, just in case you guys didn't know. It's all hot button topics, but consider this. If there was some child that you knew that would have a disease, wouldn't you want to genetically prevent that from happening if you could?
Boss, we need to talk.
Is something wrong?
I'm not sure. Did you set up a private access route to bypass the company firewall right before you hired me?
I what?
Pritchard said someone's been using it to access our system since before the first attack. The security measures he and I set in place never stopped them because we didn't even know the loophole existed.
Oh, I see. Frank's fixed that, though, right?
He has now, but he's wondering why you never mentioned it.
Frank's paranoid, Adam. You know that. Can a busy man forget things once in a while?
You streamed an awful lot of data through that portal, boss. Right before you brought me on board. Pritchard may be paranoid, but I gotta admit, I'm wondering what was in it too.
Yeah, as an ex-cop, I guess you would. But the important thing is you found the hole and plugged it. We're secure now. And the information you uncovered in that FEMA facility may actually help us track these guys. So let's just stay focused on what's important.
I want to, believe me. I want to catch these guys as badly as you do. But that breach is responsible for every security crisis we've had, including today's. If you want me to stop these guys, I need to know what kind of data they've had access to.
You're right, you're right. I'm sorry if I seem evasive. But there's something you're not getting here, Adam. Business is war, with no clear battleground and no rules to keep our enemies honest. In this company, I'm the commander-in-chief, and I have to be ready for anything, and I will do anything to ensure that I am. Now, I hired you because I needed a general I could trust, one who knows how to obey orders.
I think I proved myself today. And the only reason I'm worried about that loophole right now is because the data you streamed through it could have been accessed, backtraced, and stolen by the men who attacked us. Our enemies might still find a way to hurt us with it.
I wasn't criticizing you, Adam, but I suppose you raise a good point. Your concerns about the data being compromised won't really be an issue as long as we stay strong and work together as a team. That's all I've ever tried to do here. Find the best, most qualified people I can, and bring them all together so they can complement each other. Now, Megan understood that. That's why she suggested I hire you in the first place. To help this little family of ours survive.
With all due respect, sir, I am trying to do my job. The job you hired me to do. The job you even brought me back in for tonight. But it feels like you're getting in the way. Especially when you start bringing Megan into this.
Calm down, Adam. There's no need to get defensive here. Doesn't do anyone any good. I can understand why the mention of Megan's name gets your hackles up. She did break your heart after all. But the data I streamed was a routine, fact-finding check carried out after one of our many late-night discussions, and I don't see how knowing the content of it will make you better equipped for your job. Honestly, Adam, you're starting to appear as jealous as Frank. Just trust me with this one. Many late-night discussions, and I don't see how.
I would like nothing better than to trust you with this, boss. But trust is a two-way street, and the way you've handled this entire conversation so far makes me think that it's you who isn't trusting me. Why, boss? What is it you're so afraid to tell me?
Adam, of course I trust you, son. And it's not that I'm afraid to tell you the truth. It's just that, honestly, I'm afraid you'll take it the wrong way. All right. Look, the truth is, I set up a confidential data channel for a private investigator, someone who can run covert background checks on people, potential new recruits, like you.
You what?
I had to, Adam. You were a liability, remember? You'd just been fired from SWAT. Now, Megan believed in you, but I had to be sure. Look, I don't want this to come between us. I'll send the files to your computer. You can see for yourself what he dug up. But Adam, you'd better be sure.
Why? What do you mean?
I mean, sometimes the past should stay in the past. Once you see that data, you can't unring the bell. When you're ready, come back and talk to me. We need to discuss our next move.
Can't unring the bell, huh, boss? Well, I'm not too sure about his motives either. I'm suspicious about everyone we've encountered thus far. You know, except for Malik. She seems pretty alright. can trust her. But what do we make of that data? So someone on the chat, while all those cutscenes were going on, asked, how did me and Matt meet in the first place? Well, that's a pretty cool story. We met in high school, I think it was about junior year probably. And humorously enough, since we're playing such a technologically induced game, me and him met in something called the Technology Student Association. I don't know how many of those are located in other areas, but we had them in Jersey. And, you know, it was basically a tech club, and for any level of electronics, you know, for electricians, for people who like to make circuits, for people who like to play games. It was a whole rigmarole of stuff, and overall I felt it was kind of disorganized at some points, but it did a lot of cool things, you know, and it provided trips for people. We went to Denver once, and other years that I wasn't a part of this system of TSA, they went to Texas and all kinds of cool stuff. So one day, TSA was setting up a dance. I think it was for some kind of charity, I don't remember. And I was there sitting in the DJ's booth because I knew the DJ. And I forget what it was, but Matt came over for some reason. And I don't know how exactly he heard that I was doing a Nintendo radio podcast. Meet Seraph in the penthouse. You know what? Let's do this first before we head back. Updated, the lesser of evils. How is this updated? Okay, look for a better way to get inside. I'm gonna go with this for now. Just because I want to do that AUD unlocking on his door. I don't know why it didn't show up before that. We had two of those things. Unless we really didn't have two of those things and it was just an illusion. That could be possible as well. So I don't know how he had heard that I do podcasts as well, but I was doing the Nintendo Radio podcast with Ryan Church, who I never met in person and still haven't. But we did a podcast up to 100 episodes together, and he lives in Washington State. I live in Jersey, so it was a cross-continental podcast that we did on a weekly basis. And Matt got wind of this and started talking to me about video games. And that was really the first time I had met someone in high school that was so exuberant about video games like I was, and also had a podcast and did videos and stuff, did reviews and things like that. So, I mean, it was an immediate bond of friendship. You know, it was like from there on out, we knew we were going to be pretty good friends. And the funny thing you don't really know about Matt was back in high school, he was a tad annoying, and you could even ask him this. He might admit to this, or he might just play the I don't know what you're talking about card, because he's funny like that. But he was a lot more high-strung, and he was a lot more annoying, to where, you know, I would sit at the lunch table during senior year, and he would be a little too excited. Like, I like playing games, but for whatever reason, he'd just be like, too much. It's hard to explain, but if you know that friend that is just over the top about everything, that was him, and he didn't have any sort of filters to calm that down around other people. So for me, it was just an annoyance. But we stayed being friends because we had common interests, and eventually he matured, and we've done many recordings since then. So that's how me and him met. How can I not use 2? Okay, good. I have to select it, that's why. Whatever item I had selected probably was a gun or something, because it wasn't registering that I even had those. So that's a useful tip for anyone. If you want to use one of those devices, you must select it first in your inventory. Okay, so you hear the beeping, you know what that means. No, not drop the box. Throw the box. Goodbye to any intruders. Crossbow arrows, of course, we don't have any room. Maybe we should have went back to the apartment. Let's see, what is his code? Can't find the code. At least his computer terminal is hackable. Come on, one more. Go!
Access granted.
Loaded. Okay, so the new security gate. Oh, good. That means we can open that gate finally. The code we have. And tab to check my notes to see if there's any other info that we got. Email. Email. Okay, good. And it will tell us if there's any new codes added. What's in here? Nothing. How about in here? Nothing. Is that us? No, that's not us. That's some Asian guy with sunglasses. I saw sunglasses and thought, oh shit, why is Jensen on the most wanted list? Oh, that was the weapon shipment? Okay. So the thing that we found in the DRB gang territory was not any sort of weapon shipment we needed. It was just optional for ourselves because we can't take this weapons shipment and use it for anything. Can't open it and utilize the weapons. So that's all. Let me just make sure that we've got all the information we need to close up this mission. Let's see, we did that, we did that. Okay, the murder wants me to pick up lying around the trash near the maintenance corridor. Where is that? I've got to get it and bring it back to Jenny. Alright, so that's the last thing we've got to do. And for the life of me, I can't remember what that was. I don't know what other weapon I had to retrieve for that guy, or from that guy. So I'm just going to follow the little cursor that lands us in that general direction. Do 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 do. Ba da 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 da. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.